Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Untitled Reviews. This being a show we're talking about TV shows that are dramas. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Blue Eye Samurai Season 1, Episode 7. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, let's start off with Shindo and Fowler's side of things, which I also want to comment on. I've kind of kept forgetting to talk about it. But it's just like, I don't know why, like, this is the episode where it really kind of stood out of like, oh, right, that's Randall Park. I don't know why. I kept seeing his name, but it still just never correlated. And I still haven't talked about Shindo being voiced by Randall Park. And also Keith Brana, because this is like the first thing I've seen him like acting in. I mean, I know it's voice work, but, you know, that's still acting. Because I know him as a director for, like, the 2 Thor movies. I've never seen the Perot movies that he in. I don't know if he directs those. I know he stars in them, but he might also direct those. But, yeah, I've known him more as a director than I have. So that's why I think it didn't ever really click when I saw his name. But either way, just kind of wanted to get that out of the way because I've been just sitting on that, thinking about it, and just constantly forget to bring it up every recording. But, like, this episode in particular, I'm like, yeah, definitely. Like, you could definitely hear Randall Park. I haven't heard Kenneth Branagh talk enough. I've only heard him in like 1 or 2 interviews before. So either way, I'm going on this massive tangent. But to start off with their side of things, they are kind of going a little sexcapade on their way as they march closer and closer to taking over the shogunate. They're gonna have fun and enjoy all the craziness as they get closer and closer to their location. And it turns out, because this is something I kept bringing up over and over again, that yes, I don't believe a lot of stuff that Shindo said to Mizu was BS about Fowler, like how much he hated him. And this episode clarifies that, because for him it's like, no, he's trying to find out from Fowler where the guns are, and it's like Fowler's like, oh yeah, I have them at this, like I'm shipping them in and stuff. That sequence is wild because he was bent over. I was like, is he getting his dick sucked or something? It's like, no, he's getting pegged by a Japanese mask. I was like, Jesus. Once again, like the sexcapades as well. Once again, he's the dude that's like, yo, I'm bored of the regular basic stuff. I need the real exciting stuff. Dude's crazy. I mean, that's your thing, but it's just kind of like he needs more and more to get off. You know, that's when we get into that wild line in space where just like the normal stuff doesn't get you off anymore. But yeah, Shindo made it clear because he's talking to the advisor, because it's like, yeah, we're going to go running through with his plan of taking over the shogunate, but the problem is we're not going to let him be, because Shindo's supposed to be his figurehead. It's like, right, you represent this is going to be you're going to be the one in power, but at the end of the day, really, I'm the one giving the orders. You've been the shogunate to what I want it to be. I whisper in your ears what moves we need to make, but Shindo's like, no, I'm done being like Fowler's lapdog. The moment we get those guns, we kill him, and we get to determine things. I get to determine things. So like I said, that hate for Fowler, we still don't know what it stems from, because he never really went into it other than like seeing his face and that smell and everything about him. It's just like you hate the man. I guess it's because you've had to be his bitch for so many years that it's just worn you down. I think maybe everything he is, all that he represents, I guess was just enough. Maybe we'll find out in the next episode or so, like what. Well, I mean, there's only one more episode this season, but like maybe in the next episode we'll find out a little bit more why he hates Fowler so much. But yeah, his allies checking out, trying to, because the guy that dies is Chiba. He is the advisor, isn't he? I think the guy that dies in like near the end of the episode, because he's supposed to be their insider, right? But yeah, he was supposed to get the guns and it did not work. So because Fowler had actually already gotten the guns, he had actually hidden them, which also showcases to him that he probably made sure that Shindo knew exactly where, quote unquote, where the guns were on these ships, just so he'd look. Because it's like, oh, let me find out what other traitorous bastards is amongst my ranks. It's like, okay, Chiba. He killed Chiba more so to kind of put Shindo in his place, because he probably specifically made sure to tell Shindo, so he knows, like, okay, I wanted to test your loyalty. So yeah, I'm keeping you alive because I still need you. So, but it's also showing you like nothing gets past me. So, but yeah, I guess you're just gonna have to handle the inside stuff, because I love how he set that whole thing up of like, oh yeah, bring me like 4 prisoners or whatever, and he showcased the guns because he had basically hidden them amongst ordinary objects. Like one, I think like the barrel of the gun was a leg of a table. That was just his way of sneaking them in there. And he kind of talked a little bit, which I thought was kind of getting you a little more into the psychopathy of Fowler that his upbringing of like, right, he was like, oh yeah, like the tutors like starved out my like a certain group of Irish people, and even and his family fell into that category. And it's like, my parents died fairly early, and he did everything he could to make it so that his sister would live, even to the point he started feeding her his own blood. And he's like, yeah, that lasted her 2 more weeks, but I had to fight off the starvation enough for her body to be okay for the next 3 days so that she could actually be buried. But before she got buried, I took out her kidneys and had a meal of them. And he's like, every meal since, he has not had a meal since without thinking about that bite of like what it tastes like. So, which makes me wonder, like, his kids or anyone else he's killed, like, he's like, oh yeah, all the sex I've had for like 10,000 times the entire time I was in that castle, all the money I made the shogun while I was in that castle. I'm curious, like, did he eat from them as well before he killed them, like his kids and the mothers of his kids? Once again, Kaji had brought up kind of like the cannibalistic nature of Fowler. She was kind of referencing that before without really directly saying it, but still directly saying it enough. So, but yeah, one of the people they ended up killing with their target practice ended up being Chiba. So it's like, you're definitely going to have to keep one eye open, because I guess Fowler's like, once again, you're still necessary because I need to put you in position of the Shogun. But I guess it's like, I don't have enough time to break anyone else in. You're my bitch. And so I know, like, you'll never, like, as long as I remind you who's got the leash to the collar around your neck, as long as I, like, tug on it every once in a while to let you remember, like, who's in charge, it'll be fine. Because, like, I just don't have the time and patience necessary to, like, break someone else, you know? So I guess that's Fowler's justification for maybe like why he's. I mean, once again, it's like, obviously I need you, so that's why I'm keeping Shindo around. But maybe there's a little more to that you can kind of pull from needing Shindo specifically alive. Why not replace him if you're able to kill Chiba like without hesitation? It's like, once again, there's no way he killed Chiba or like let the guards kill Chiba without, because it was like the people on his side firing their guns, those are the ones that actually killed Chiba. But it's like, and his men, and it's like, well, his men are now your men, but there's no way he would have done that and not known that Shindo was behind it. Like, he knows. It was just, he's trying to pretend like he doesn't, I guess, to make Shindo let his guard down, or just to kind of make him go, like, make him feel nervous enough that he falls back in line thinking he got away with it. Who knows what's fully going through Fowler's mind. So we have that angle of things. Let's switch gears and follow Akemi. So obviously we're picking up in the aftermath of the wedding, and she's still in denial about it. She doesn't want to be a part of this. And I thought it was so interesting when Seki approached her, which begs the question, you know, because of the ending, does he know? He probably doesn't. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say what he fully knows and what he doesn't know. But his approach to it is telling Akemi, I was never a good swordsman. He's like, I don't even think I did that good job of being a mother for you. But at the end of the day, I didn't like the job more. It's like, everything I've done has been for your benefit, because everything I've taught you was so that you would be prepared for the world that's out there. You weren't able to experience the world, but what I did was I taught you and equipped you with the tools needed to survive, to play the game, to see the board, to take over the territory, you know, using Go as a metaphor. I mean, to be fair, Go is supposed to be like a very, a very strategic game that, you know, and it's all about, you know, taking territory, and that's kind of what he wants her to do. Take advantage of the situation you're in, because sadly, women are property in this point in time. And so it's like, all you can do is accept reality as it is, not what you want it to be, but take that accepted reality and morph it into what you need it to be. Use your cunning, use your tactics to make that. And we even get that a little bit more when she runs into the lady Madame Kaji, and the other ladies that she got to know a few episodes back. And Madame Kaji's like, oh, they're like, men who are beasts are weak. The fact is, to assert power on you, they have to thrust and penetrate you, because it's their way to kind of seek dominance over you. That is a pure sign of weakness, because something is weak inside of them. They feel the need to feel powerful by dominating a woman. So it's like, right, take advantage of that, because even Madame Kaji's like, I've seen it firsthand what you're able to do. And so take advantage of it, and take advantage of your husband, basically bend him to your will and get what you want out of it. Because it's like, yes, you don't might not want to be married to him, but at the end of the day, just like Siki was saying, you can take advantage of the situation. And it's just like, I don't know if I can. It's like, and Madame Kaji is like, you have to figure out what the what do you want at the end of the day, and fucking make it happen. Which Madame Kaji, or maybe just only one of the girls, maybe because one of the girls says like, "Oh, sadly, what's going sad this happening? What's going to it's Issei." It's like I guess maybe she's the only one of the group that knew the truth about it, because she's the only one that said anything. Because I thought the way she said it, she's like, "Oh, it's sad what's going to happen to her and the whole Shogun family." I thought she was saying that aloud to the rest of the girls and Madame Kaji, so maybe they weren't aware. Maybe that girl in particular, Issei, maybe she's interacted enough with Shindo or Fowler. I don't remember if she's the one that ended up having to peg Fowler with the with the no. Like, probably she might have been one of the ladies. Well, obviously, like, there's only a limited amount of ladies that work at Kaji's place, but maybe Issei was around to hear some of those plans, so she knew. But maybe the rest of the others didn't. You'd assume Kaji would have known, but once again, none of them had that conversation with her. Only Issei did. But maybe Issei like played it close to the vest and just like wanted to tell her where the others didn't. I don't know, because Issei's the only one that felt bad. Like, no one else did, so it makes it seem like maybe they didn't know in the end. But either way, we'll circle back to that soon enough. But she does take advantage of the situation. Well, we find out one of the people in the crowd is the man she interacted with, and the one reciting poetry, and he was jerking himself off to completion. He got hard for like the first time ever. That dude, and she kind of like smiles at him, and her husband, Madam Lady Ito, who is the Shogun's wife, ended up trying to put Akemi in her place. It's like, oh yeah, here's this food that's covered in horse semen and this and that for vitality, yada yada. Trying to feed her disgusting stuff, trying to put her in her place so she'll always know. But it's like she's putting her through the ringer on purpose just to mess with her. But Akemi promises to be strong, even being fed the bird that was killed. It was a bird she let free that her husband ended up Akemi's husband, soon to be husband, ended up killing. And it ended up feeding it to her. That wasn't his choice. That was his mom's choice. And he kind of, very much like the weak thing of like, right, he ended up having to bend to his mom's will. What we saw of him doesn't seem like the brute that people make him out to be, but maybe he is a lot more brutish than we think. And maybe he is more, because he seems so quiet and soft-spoken. Like, he rarely speaks at all, and he kind of speaks a little bit with a stammer. So I'm like, a little bit of like hesitation with how he talks. Which Kimmy was able to spin at, like, oh, the fact is you talk slowly just means you have so many thoughts at once. Kind of like, oh, that's why you talk slow, because you choose your words, because you're always full of thoughts. Oh, you're so great, you're so smart, like boosting his ego. I mean, we've seen she's very good at that. She hadn't really thought of it at the time, but she was, what she did with Home Dude at Madame Kaji's, what she's doing with her husband, same thing she did with, Taigen in episode 2. She just didn't correlate them being the same thing, but it's like, yeah, that skill set was already there. You already had Taigen wrapped around your finger. Problem is, he was so dead set on getting his honor back, he kind of up and left you. So, but now that she was able to kind of get her husband in place, she ends up firing her staff, which is good, because those catty bitches were just like running their mouths off and just annoying Akemi. And it's just like, these are people you can't trust. They kind of like make you feel small, so get rid of them. And she brought in Madame Kaji, and it's like, right, I'm paying off all your debts, like, so you guys don't have to work as prostitutes. But I'd also like you to come be my attendees, because that way I can make sure I have people around me who have experienced the world, but also friends and people I can trust. And it's like, okay. So Madame Kaji signs off on that. I don't think that's her leaving that work. So it's like, I'm going to have to find some other girls, but I'm fine as long as these girls are taken care of, because she takes care of her girls. And it's like, right, as long as you're okay. And, she knows that Kimmy's going to treat him right. And it's like, well, Kimmy's in a better position now because she followed Kaji's not orders, but suggestions about how she should handle things and what she could get out of this whole situation with her wedding situation as it being. So, but she ends up talking to Issei, who they both talk to her father. The moment they're talking to her father, I was like, fuck, he's in on it, isn't he? I was like, shit. And it's like, who else have you told? I was like, damn it. And ends up pushing Issei over the edge, which is so sad because Akemi was thinking about doing that to herself earlier in the episode, but she's like, right, you don't have to worry, Seki. I don't have the courage. I was almost thinking that because she had told him, like, once I'm married, I won't need you anymore. You won't have to be in my life. I thought before she hired the ladies from Madame Kaji's, I thought maybe she was going to get Seki to, like, be that attendee. Not attendee, but, like, her advisor. Still could be. But yeah, her dad's behind all of this, and it's like, right, because he's choosing the winning side in all of this. It's like, right, along with all my partners, we'll be in a better position, and because you're the Shogun's, like, because the Shogun's going to be dead, so is his children. All that power is going to flow to you as the only living person connected to this by marriage. So because of you being in that powerful position, all that power really comes down to me. Is it like he's going to be the Fowler to what Fowler is to Shindo is kind of what her Akemi's dad wants to be with her. So it's like, right, you'll be safe down here. It's like, yeah, there's a lot more to your dad than you thought. It's like, it's bad enough when you thought he was just marrying you all. But he's like, yeah, just trust me because you weren't going to have to be married to him that long because I'm putting you in a powerful position. Once again, all sides are saying like, right, a few people are going to have to die. It sucks, but it's like a lot of people are going to have to die. And so many of these people are okay with it. Just shows you the lengths that her father will go for his own ambition and try to masquerade it as if it's for you. It's 100% for him. So that's sadly where things are. It's so heartbreaking about Issei too, because she was like, oh, I'm so sorry after everything I did for you, the way I treated you, and now here you are extending a hand to me. I've got to tell you about everything. And she tried to do the right thing and it cost her life. So now finally let's switch over to the Swordmaker side of things with Ringo, Taigen, and Mizu, because yes, it is in fact Ringo who's saving, which I figured as much. So, but yeah, he ends up taking them back to Kohama. I guess maybe she talked enough about the Swordmaker to know that this is where to take Mizu, which I thought was interesting. And the only reason why the Swordmaker ended up opening the door is because he heard her broken blade touch the ground, and he was like, Mizu. He recognizes the blades that were made. He recognizes the material that it was made from. Luckily, Taigen and Mizu are alive. Ringo, happy Mizu's alive despite being mad at her. And now he's trying to make Master Eiji his master, which Eiji's just like, right, he already had to deal with an annoying Mizu. To be fair, Mizu did not talk nearly as much as Ringo. So she was annoying in her own right, sure, but not nearly as much. And so it's like, right, silence is what I need. And Ringo's just like, oh my god, yes, silence. That's what my dad needed too. It's just like, ugh. Ringo just can't stop himself. But I do like that a lot of people, like Ringo and Mizu, like gained something from the Swordmaker. Because it's like, oh, who made your utensils for you that you used instead of your hands? And he was like, oh, me. Because he wants to be a samurai. And he's like, oh, everyone laughs because a samurai can't do anything without hands. But Master Eiji's like, yeah, but what about me? A sword maker who has no eyes. And it's like, well, Ringo's situation was a birth defect, whereas it was a fire that took Master Eiji's eyes. So it's like, right, he's proven himself useful time and time again, that even without hands, like, he is crafty enough to put stuff together. He has the mind for it, and I think eventually he's stepping back into being Mizu's protege, but I'm curious, will he more... I don't know. Because what Mizu learned from Master Eiji could be something she passes on to Ringo, because he might not be the samurai he wants to be. It's hard to say where that situation, where Ringo's going to line up profession wise. Obviously, it's all about being noodles, and then he just wanted to be great at something. He also wanted to be a samurai, but then he also, hey, I can't be great, but at least I can serve someone who is great, and that's Mizu. So where he's going to fall in the aftermath of all this is going to be interesting. But we had the Taigen of it all, where now that they're back in Kohama, it makes him kind of confront a lot of stuff from the past. Like, first and foremost, finding out, like, oh, this is where you hid all those years. He's going into the village. I mean, he doesn't really have much connection to this village because all of it was in the past. He left it all behind the moment he became a swordsman, just so he could escape the life that was kind of set, the path set before him, following in his father's footsteps as being a fisherman. And as he's walking down, he's remembering them like tormenting a young Mizu. And it was him at the very back who dropped the rock. I don't know if it's a thing of, oh, I'm a pick on Mizu because it's that bully thing of, oh, if I'm bullying someone else, everyone else will join me in the bullying and leave me alone. Or is it just supposed to be a manifestation, or just supposed to be like, oh, this is how he would, because present day, he like the rock drops and we cut to him, like it slides back up to him present day. So I don't know if it's like a, oh, I wish I did things differently. He feels bad about how things handled with Mizu. So he brings her food and it's like, oh yeah, like it's the best in town. He's like, I would never know. Remember, I was just, meant for dog scraps. And you could tell it hit Taigen. I was like, right, did treat you like shit. And it's like, yeah, but you don't actually need a blade. Like all that, yeah, blade determines a samurai, yada yada. He's like, it's all bullshit. You could kill Fowler with like a hammer, and they start like wrestling a little bit. I'm like, I don't. It's like, this could be that opportunity where he ends up finding out, but she ends up on top, and he gets an erection. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. She's like, no, it's okay, Taigen. It's like she kind of likes Taigen too, but it's like she's kind of attracted him. Ever since like Mikio, she probably hasn't been with anyone in all that time, so tussling around with Taigen, and it's just like there's probably like just a natural part of her that's like, well, obviously he tormented me when we were kids. He's still an asshole, but he's kind of a cute asshole. Like that could be like her justification of like, I do find him, mildly attractive. He's still got a shitty personality, and he's a shitty person sometimes, but doesn't stop him from being attractive in at least in a physical sense. So. But Mizu ends up telling Taigen about everything, about giving Akemi over to her father, and about the Shogun's plan, what Fowler has planned for the Shogunate. And it's like, right, you were sitting on this information, you didn't say anything. He's like, you really are a demon. And it was just like, I think he started feeling pissed off. It's like, right, I felt sorry for you for a second, but you are a monster. Because you're going to get revenge against Fowler. You're not doing it for honor, you're doing it for hate. It's just also like, it's like, it feels a little hypocritical coming out of your mouth, because she already made it pretty clear what this was all about for her. So she never claimed to be honorable, even though, yes, she does have her honorable moments, but she also has her non-honorable moments. And I thought it was kind of a nice conversation she had with Mr. Edgy, where it's the conversation of, he was like, I taught you to be an artist. And it's like, no matter what it is, whether it's noodles, death, swords, pots, whatever the case may be, it's all the same to an artist. Because for him, it's like, I cannot be a farmer, I cannot be this, I can be that, but I can make swords. I learned the sutras just for the play. I eat just so I can have the strength to make swords. I learned the sutras just so I can cleanse myself to make swords. That's who I am as an artist. That is all I am, and that's what I taught you to be. I didn't teach you to be a swordsman or a samurai. I taught you to be an artist. She's like, I'm a bad one then. But for him, it's kind of similar to the conversation Madame Kaji had with Mizu a couple episodes back about, like, stop denying all that you are. Because it's like, right, you're up here saying, like, people are right about you being a demon. It's like, yes, there is a demon in you, but that's not all that you are. Embrace everything that you are, because that is only part of you. That does not define all of you. Because she had tried to forge her own blade, but she couldn't get it to come out right. But it's like, because you have to be whole, and you're denying all these aspects of yourself. You're burying, once again, it's like she's embraced the demon inside of her, but never her humanity, even though it's been there. And once again, it's like she has not been, there's no equilibrium inside. Like I brought up last episode, like the shattered sword was kind of a metaphor for her unsteady soul. And now it was about embracing every part of herself. So she ended up stripping down naked, having like writing, maybe it's kind of like a mantra, or just maybe it's what that necessarily entails. It was something she ended up talking to Ringo about and had him do her back, because it's like, right, there's just certain things you can't do alone. And so she put the pieces of the sword in there. She put like her knife, I think the bell that she had given Ringo, and also the I don't know if they're called what they would call those things that they use to grab the metal when it's hot. She tossed that in there when Mr. Edgy gave it to her, because it was almost like every aspect, all of you, every facet of you is represented in these items that you're tossing in there. I think the bell was kind of representative of the Ringo, obviously Master Edgy with the tool being tossed in there as well. So I think it's just because it isn't just about her, it's about the people she's met along the way too, and how they've. I wonder if like the knife she threw in there was supposed to represent a Kimmy, and like there was another thing probably representing Tigan as well. But ultimately, the material comes out, and she leaves it with Master Edgy, because it's like, right, I don't deserve to make a blade out of this. Maybe you will, and if I manage to survive this after I've killed Fowler, maybe then you'll determine whether or not I am worthy of having a blade made by you. So she's going on her. She doesn't need that specific sword, but it's almost kind of, if I had to like make a nerd comparison, it's like the Spider-Man homecoming situation of, if you think you need the suit, maybe you really don't deserve it, because Peter had to go back to his homemade suit at the very end of near the end of the movie and stuff, because he got so attached, thinking like he needed the suit. And it's like, suit doesn't make the man. You need to kind of prove to yourself that you can do without it, and then getting the, just like this, it's like, right, are you worthy of getting this sword? Have you proven yourself? And we'll see if she will. I believe she will. So like I said, it was like the hero's low point last episode / this episode, and now she'll eventually come back for the sword, and what will be forged will be stronger than what was made previously. And I love their goodbyes to Edgy. Obviously, she said her goodbyes quietly. Ringo had to make his loud as hell, and just like this, he was just kind of annoyed, obviously. But yeah, they're on their journey to go kill Fowler, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see where all this takes us going forward into the season finale. I'm so curious to see how this all wraps up and what this will set up for the potential future. But really, that's all I want to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.